Hi everyone, this is Mihaela with Art of Experiencing. These are only my interpretations and my opinions, always in all the episodes. For this week, I decided to do something that just jumped at me, which is the new video of Miley Cyrus, Flowers. And you might wonder, why am I doing something that has to do with music? I'm not a musical coach. I don't sing. I don't know much about music. But the reason why I chose to do this video is because I found that it has so many of the acting tools that she is applying in her video. So many. And I don't even know if she's doing it consciously. I have no idea. But what I'm trying to get to you out there, I'm trying to make everybody realize that acting tools are tools for everyday use. They can be used by musicians, as is the case with Miley Cyrus. They can be used by lawyers. They can be used by people of any profession, in everyday life, in the personal everyday life. I'm going to go through the video and I'm going to tell you what the tools are of acting, what acting tools I recognize in the video, and what my opinion is and my interpretation of her video is, which makes it one of the best, one of the most watched single, I believe. I'm not sure about that. Like I said, I don't know much about music, but when it comes to the recognition of acting tools and acting procedures and techniques that other professionals use, those, by the end of whatever the final presentation is of a lawyer, of Miley Cyrus in this case, those will win over audiences. Audiences will be captivated by whatever the project, whatever the work it is, because they're using acting tools, which are the acting tools that great actors use to be able to bring the audience and pull in the audience and make the audience not even be able to breathe or move while sitting in the chair and watching those actors at work. So I'm going to play the video and then I'm going to go bit by bit by bit, tell you exactly my interpretation, my analysis, and what I think the acting tools are. I'm going to play bit by bit by bit. Everything goes back to Stanislavski, the father of acting from Russia, 100 and some years ago, who came up with a manual in writing for actors to be able to go to and have all these tools that I'm going to talk about. So it is said that because Stanislavski had an accent when he was speaking English, he was Russian, the same way that I have an accent when I speak English. When he meant to say that he was going to break down the script into beats, he meant to say bits, because there's such a difficult way of being able to distinguish in the pronunciation of anybody who speaks English as their second language. He meant to say bits, B-I-T-S, but because of his pronunciation, due to his pronunciation, it was sounding as if he was saying beats. I have the same problem, like I have to focus a lot when I have to make the distinction between beats and bits. So B-E-A-T-S remain as what everybody believed that he meant when it came to dividing the script into segments. He meant to say bits, B-I-T-S. I don't remember where I read that, but I thought it was very interesting. So I'm going to go and I'm going to play the video, which is becoming an anthem. It's amazing. And I think I know why it's becoming such a popular video and why everybody adores her and why everybody is so excited and they get into it with her when you're watching her video. So we're going to play it and then we're going to go bit by bit, not beat by beat. Well, in this case, I think it's beat by beat because it's a musical beat. I don't know. Let's see. We were good. We were born on a dream that can't be sold. We were right till we weren't. Built a home and watched it burn. I didn't want to sleep. I didn't want to lie. Started to cry, but then remembered I can buy myself flowers. Okay, so that would be the first beat, the first bit of the song. What is it that she's doing, which to me, I recognize to be acting tools? First of all, if you go back to the personal reason to why she decided to do the song, from what I was watching on television and I was looking on social media to try to find out more about it. She supposedly wrote the song due to the fact that she had a horrible divorce from Liam Hemsworth, I believe his name is. I don't know much about the actor, but they were together for a long time. Then they separated, then they came back together. So she came out with this song as a monologue to this guy that she's no longer with. So she's already introducing a monologue. Just because a song has a melody, it doesn't mean that you cannot approach it the same way that you would approach doing something as an actor. It doesn't mean that you don't approach it as a monologue or as a scene. No matter that you sing, no matter that you speak, the important thing is to give a message. The important thing is to have a goal. If you're an actor, if you're a musician, if you're a public speaker, if you're a lawyer, it doesn't matter. They all require the same important thing, which is you have to have an objective. You have to have a message. Have that message be so important to you that if you do not get a chance to deliver it in different forms, in different art forms, in different ways, if that doesn't get across to whom you are addressing that message to, nobody's going to watch. There's no audience that's going to be captivated. So she's doing exactly the same thing that an actor would be doing in doing a monologue. I'm calling it a monologue. The song is a monologue at this point because she's singing by herself. She doesn't have another person. She's not doing a duet. She doesn't say one line and then the other actor or the other singer replies back with another line. But she's by herself. So she's working on a monologue. This is the introduction of the monologue. Already from the way that she's dressed, she's looking beautiful, which is another thing that I know a lot of people say, well, we shouldn't talk about the physical aspect of a human being because we're all beautiful. Yeah, we're all beautiful. Taking care of yourself and putting your most beautiful side to be seen, that not only says that you're looking great physically, but that gives us the understanding that you're taking care of yourself, that you're feeling confident, that you're ready to deliver this message, this monologue. So she begins by walking, right? So she's walking. The physical walking, the physical aspect in the beginning of the video is very moderate. She's not going over the top yet. She's moderately, naturally just walking up the street, dressed in this beautiful gold costume, looking amazing. She's walking. Even though she's doing the walking in a way that's not over the top, she's not getting into something that's out of her comfort zone. If you watch the video and if you pay really close attention to, you will see she's walking, she's moving her shoulders, she's moving her hips. So when she's walking, she's not just walking with shoulders down. She's not walking with giving up on everything in the way that she's going to deliver this message just because she had a bad divorce and just because she's not with this person whom she loved for so many years. She's not approaching this first part of the song and of the video as a victim. And that takes me back to what I keep saying about the actors not being able to be victims to proceed to create credible characters. If she were to have walked down the street in a way where she's bowed down with her head and her shoulders are slumped forward and she's not moving her hips, nobody would be attracted to watch her because we don't want to see victims. And I'm not saying that there aren't victims with real problems. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the artistic element that has to be brought to a creative project. in this case, her video. So she's walking, she has the sunglasses on, she's moving her shoulders, she's moving even her hips in the way that she walks. She's moving. So if you try this at home, and if you're walking like this rather than walk like this, you will see how by starting to work with the outer aspect, with your outer physical aspect, and if you go like this, it's going to change the way that you feel inside. If you straighten your shoulders and you allow your shoulders to be the leading parts of your body, and then you involve your hips. So if you move your shoulders like this, and then if you move your hips, just try this walking. You don't even have to do a video to be able to do this. It is automatically going to put a smile on your face. It is going to put you in a positive state of mind. It is so unbelievably amazing to watch students and to watch actors and directors and filmmakers that I work with. When we do this exercise in the class, I just have them walk around and I tell them to imagine that they're walking on the red carpet and there's photographers who are waiting to take their picture, because that gives them the justification to why they would walk like that. And that brings me to the next thing. So the first one is the physical confidence by using and involving your shoulders, involving your hips. And the next one, you have to find the justification to why you're asking an actor in developing a character to do something. Justification is at the base of everything. She has a justification. She's walking towards her house. I'm sure in her mind, she was thinking about it, dressed the way that she is, beautiful. It gives us the impression that she's come from being out and now she's going into the direction of her home, because that's where the next beat is going to happen. She goes in, she gets to her home, but we're going to get to that. So she has a justification. The same way that as an actor, you cannot make a move, you cannot make a step on stage without having that justification to why you're doing it. You're doing it because you want to approach the character, you want to be closer to the character, because you want to make your message be understood. Maybe you're moving to the other character because the other character is telling you to be quiet. There are more characters on stage or on the set, and you have a secret to deliver to one character, so you have to whisper. So you're coming closer to that person, to that character you're playing with on stage, and you're just having to be quiet. So there's always a justification. In creative project, you have to be justified. And that is so crazy to me. As fictional stories are being told, as fictional videos are being made, in the case of Miley Cyrus, she's justifying why she's wearing the beautiful golden dress. She's justifying the walk, the confident walk, because we're later going to find out why she's not walking like a victim. So she has already a justification to why she's walking with confidence. And then you go to real life people and you watch them on the news and you watch them on social media, and they come up with all these crazy things that they do. I'm referring to Harry and Meghan because I don't want to make this video about them. But they are allowed to tell a story on Netflix, and Harry's allowed to write a book that has no base in factual anything. There's no justifications, and nobody's requiring them to justify what they are saying and what they are doing. So in real life, truth can be dismissed, but in fictional storytelling, be it in words, be it musical, you have to have a justification for the audience to be engaged. Because if you don't, the audience is not going to participate. They're not going to allow themselves to be moved by what you are saying. In real life, people can just go and tell lies, and the supporters are applauding those lies. When it comes to actors and when it comes to musicians, they're justifying everything in their creative projects, which are not even real. So they have to create truth. They are demanded to create truth more than everyday people, more than everyday politicians are demanded to create truth and to have justification the truth is based on. How is that possible? Wouldn't you say that they would be very much more informed if they would take some of the tools from acting? I keep trying to say that, and people are looking at me like, what are you talking about? And maybe I don't know how to say it in the words that I should be able to say it, but I think I am. Why is it that in a fictional creative project, musical or narrative, those artists have to justify what they're saying and what they're doing? But in real life, people are not held responsible at the same level. Does that make sense to you? Because it doesn't make sense to me. So we talked about the beginning of the video, which we call it a monologue because she's talking to herself on the street using the tool of physical relaxation in the body, we would call it. Make sure that you know what your body is being led by. Is it being led by your shoulders? Is it being led by your hips again? And do that walk. Allow yourself to try that at home and see how it feels. So it's already grabbing us, the audience, because you can feel the energy of her confidence, even though we don't recognize that maybe that's what it is. But we're being attracted to watch this creator. Let's move on to the next beat. B-I-T.
I can buy some flowers, write my name in the sand, talk to myself for hours, say things you don't understand. I can take myself dancing, and I can hold my own head. Yeah, I can love me better than you can. Can love me better, can love me better, baby. Can love me better, can love me better, ain't my nail.
Okay, the second beat of the video is where she takes the next step into this monologue, into this song, and she gives us the information with the lyrics. She gives us the specific message, which is, I don't need you to prove your love to me for me to feel worthy. I don't need you to buy me flowers because I can buy my own flowers. I don't need for you to write my name in the sand because I can write my name in the sand. And that takes me to a personal event from my life. Whenever a great creator such as Miley Cyrus with this video is allowing her personal story to be brought into her artistic project, as this is, because it is so personal to her, it will become personal to me. It will first become universal, and then it will become personal to me. When she talks about, I can hold my own hand, where do you think that takes me? There's an exercise that I know it sounds crazy, but in acting, I don't even know where I read this. What's so amazing is that you do not have to wait for somebody to give you the credit to be a worthy human being. You don't have to wait for somebody to come and touch your cheek to make you feel better, because somehow, if you touch your cheek for long enough, and this is as reference to, I can hold my own hand, I can write my name in the sand, I can love me better than you can. If you go like this, I don't know how many times, and you close your eyes and then you keep touching your cheek, after a while, they said, the brain doesn't know what the source of who's touching your cheek is. The power in that, to me, is enormous, to understand what I just said. So if you go like this, you're worthy enough, you're beautiful enough. You don't have to have somebody love you for you to feel worthy, because then you depend on somebody else's love. Then you give your power away to someone else. And why would you want to do that when that's not necessary? You can still be in a relationship with somebody who loves you, but you can be in a relationship and still remain an individual who's strong, who's authentic, who's original. Knowing that if you go like this with your hand numerous times, after a while, the brain doesn't recognize that you yourself are the one that's caressing your face. Isn't that powerful? What does that say? That says that you don't need somebody else to do that to make you feel loved. That's exactly what she's doing. That's another exercise in acting. She doesn't caress her face, she doesn't caress her cheek, but she's put it in the lyrics. She put it so beautifully in the lyrics.
We were good, we were gold, kind of dream that can't be sold. We were right till we weren't, built a home and watched it burn. I didn't want to live.
So again, going back to the first beat, just because I noticed something else that she was doing, she's giving us a backstory to her relationship, to what her relationship with this imaginary other, but now we know it's her ex from what everybody's saying on social media. I mean, I don't know for sure, but that's what other people's opinions are. So she's giving us an introduction, which also as actors, you have to give an introduction. What is the moment? What is the backstory before you actually get into that zone where you go for it? So she's telling us we were okay. We were doing the dream. That's what we thought we were going to have. And then we were okay until we were not okay. So she's giving us an introduction. She's giving us a little bit of a backstory to what's going to come after in her message, so we can understand the transformation that she's going to have into a strong, independent woman. We had a house, the house burned down. From what I heard on the news, they had a house and it burned down with the fires in California. This is the tool. What is the backstory? What is the moment before the climax of the monologue in this case? So she's giving us an introduction, the moment before almost, where she's just kind of narrating, but this in song, she's talking as she's not really putting all the vocals into it, because you can't go from the beginning all the way to the top. Because if you start being here from the beginning, I'm showing it up here. If you start being here from the beginning, then you have nowhere to go. So you start slow, you start getting into it. You give us the foundation, which you're starting this message on. You're giving us a little bit of what the history, the backstory is. And then she goes into
Started to cry, but then
started to cry. Our instinctual, conditioned selves, where do we tend to go when we have something happening in your life that's negative, or we have a breakup with someone, or when we stop loving someone, when that person stops loving us? The next thing that we want to do is to cry, because it's painful, it's hurtful. Who doesn't understand that lyric? So the fact that she's admitting to the truth of what she wanted to do first, which was, I wanted to cry when the house went up in flames, which is the symbol of the relationship, went up in flames. The dream did not work out. I wanted to cry.
started to cry, but then remembered I
Started to cry, but then I remembered. And now she gets into that second beat, which I started to talk about, second beat, whatever you want to call it. This is where she allows herself, from that way of just getting us to pay attention to her in the way that she moves her body as if she were a snake. She can probably, maybe she could have used the snake animal exercise with an actor. If I were to give that actor suggestion in how to move the body, and I would tell him, okay, lead with your shoulders or lead with your hips, and it's not going to be sufficient for that actor to feel comfortable, or maybe he doesn't feel comfortable with the imagined circumstance of walking down the red carpet and photographers taking pictures, then you can go into the animal exercise, which is another technique, another tool of acting, where you would say, imagine that you're walking as if you were half human, half snake. How is that going to translate in the way that you physically move your body? It's going to be exactly the same way that Miley Cyrus is doing it. She's going to involve the shoulders. There's so many different suggestions in the way that you articulate what you want from an actor, depending on the individual actor you're working with. You have to be such an observer of that particular actor to know how to suggest different techniques, different methods, as in method acting, to get that personal understanding to the individual you're working with. And she takes off the golden, it's almost like she has this beautiful halo, I think it's called. It's so beautiful. It's almost like she's an angel. She takes that off, and then she goes into the next beat.
started to cry, but then remembered I can buy myself flowers, write my name in the sand, talk to myself for hours, say things you don't understand. I can take myself dancing, and I can
The next beat, the one where she's still walking, but it's the second part of the walking, when she goes, I can buy myself flowers. I don't need you to buy me flowers. I can take myself dancing. What she does, which I keep insisting all the time, that it works for people. It works for audiences, and don't be afraid to do it. I say it to actors, because actors, and in general, we as people in everyday life, we're afraid to be big. We're afraid to be bold because we do not want to disturb the other people. We don't want to be looked at as if there's something wrong with us because we're behaving in a way that's authentically big. Because we're all about, be polite, don't draw attention. Because if we're doing all of these things, we're being labeled to be, I don't know, crazy or narcissist. And this has nothing to do with telling lies. And this has nothing to do with, again, Harry and Meghan being a narcissist. They're not expressing themselves based on something that's artistic. They're not expressing themselves based on something that's real and truthful. They're expressing themselves based on hurting other people. For as long as you do not hurt other people, and for as long as you do not hurt yourself, you can be as big and you can be as bold as you want, and you have justification to why you're doing that, creatively, artistically. So the second part of the beginning of the video, her physical move and gestures and her physicality, that's what I was looking for, starts, like I said, in a way that's moving along, because she doesn't want to give us all of it. If she goes big from the beginning, then she doesn't have anywhere to go. Then as soon as she says, after the lyric that says, I wanted to cry, I'm just paraphrasing, when I realized that we're not together anymore, the dream was no longer, I wanted to cry, that personally comes into our head because we relate to, wanting to cry at points in our life. Who doesn't relate to that? Then she gets more confidence in herself when she says, and then I remembered I don't have to go there. I don't have to cry because I don't need you to make myself happy. I don't need you to make me happy. I can give myself flowers. I can take myself dancing. I can speak to myself for hours. I can relate to that so much because I speak to myself all the time. And that exercise of speaking out is another acting tool, where if an actor goes on stage and he's ready or she's ready to start doing a monologue or a scene, and you see the actor is really tense in their body and tense in their mind, and they can't relax to let the expression in the scene or in the monologue to come out, then you will ask them, what's going on in your mind right now? If you speak out your inner thoughts, which is hard to do because we try to keep all this like private, but in an environment where you're in a creative project, you're working with actors or a director, or you're working in a classroom where there's a safe environment, then you can ask them, speak out, tell me what you're going through. The speaking out will give voice to those inner thoughts, which on their own, by themselves, inside your head, without giving them voice, they are taking the power from you. If you give those inner thoughts voice, then you take your power back. You're not allowing those voices in your head to tell you that you're not sufficient, that you're not good enough. The tension is creeping up in your body and your mind, therefore you're not a great actress. You're saying, this is what I'm feeling like this. So that's what she does. She says, I can speak to myself for hours. That's the speaking out, another acting tool. And again, I'm not saying that she knows consciously or that she worked with an acting coach. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying great artists use acting tools, some consciously, they know they do, and others subconsciously, others without knowing. Some know they use them and some don't. So then when she says, I don't need you, she finds even more courage in herself, realizing I can do this, I can hold my own hand, I can do the dancing without you, I can buy my own flowers, I can write my name in the sand, I don't have to go on vacation with you. And that, I was going to talk about that, takes me back to a relationship that I had that was really toxic, and I remember we were away. There's so many of these like events, like writing my name in the sand, and I was with this person and it was really bad. And now she's making me realize that I don't have to have a person It's great if I do, but if I don't have a person. So she's giving us the permission to love ourselves. She's giving us the permission, the reminder to say, you don't have to have somebody to go with you on a exotic beach or vacation. You can do that by yourself. The whole concept behind all of these beautiful lyrics are that you can independently be as joyful and you can have as much fun and you can be as confident as a human being as you want, without always having to depend on another person to cling on, to touch, like the duo, Meghan and Harry, Meghan with Harry. Instead of clawing your hand into Harry, why don't you just do what Miley Cyrus is reminding us that we can all do? All of these lyrics are so personally understood by all of us, and that's why it's becoming such a watched video and such a listened to song, because it's almost like it's a reminder. We need to be reminded, we need to be given permission over and over and over and over and over again by artists. That's why artists are so important in the world. Musicians, actors, writers, dancers, because they give us permission from the seats, watching them wherever we are, that we are sufficient, we are worthy, without having to have somebody else tell us that we are. It's brilliant what she did. It's so brilliant. It's so beautiful. Where did I leave it at? Oh, and then the fact that she was moving as a snake in the beginning, and she's still like just kind of giving us a glimpse into her confidence. Then as the lyrics become more confident, another thing great actors do is when they talk about something in music, in song, or in monologue, they have to recreate the active physical aspect of what they're saying. They have to create those actions which they are speaking about. And so many actors to this day, they're like, yeah, but I don't want to move too much. I don't want to move my hands. I'm not saying that you have to move the hands or you have to move your body for no reason. Going back to the justification, if you are justified to why you are recreating those little actions, she has that justification because she's just revealing her confidence, growing and growing. She's becoming stronger as a human, relating to us how she feels when she takes herself dancing, and then she goes into the dancing.
Talk to myself for hours. Say things you don't understand. I can take myself dancing.
And then when she does this portion, after she goes into the snake animal exercise, and it's only like this, when she talks about, I can take myself dancing, then she does the dancing, then she moves, and her hips start to move so much more, and her shoulders start to move, because she's demonstrating to us how she had been dancing. Even though she's now walking up the street, she's recreating the dancing that happened with herself, by herself the night before. So she does the dancing, she does a little bit more of a step in comparison to the first beat. She's justifying the confidence growing and growing. Therefore, the dance moves on the street are justified. Yay. Okay. This is the part where she gets to her house and she is changed from the beautiful golden gown that she looks like a goddess, she looks like a queen. And she gets to the house, which a lot of people are saying on social media that it was the same house her ex-husband was cheating on her. I don't know if that's the truth. She gets there. She then changes into the bathing suit because guess what? This is her revealing to us physically without shame that she's done the work, not just emotionally or mentally. She's done the physical work that it requires for her to feel confident about herself. It doesn't matter that she looks as beautiful as she does. That's giving all of us, no matter how old we are. Look at me. I'm dancing to her song. I'm older. I'm twice, 3 times older than she is. She's giving me the same permission, even though I don't have her body, even though I don't have her age, even though I don't have her career. She's making me understand that where I am, in my age, with my body, with my career, I am enough. That's why this is becoming such an anthem for freedom, for self-love. And I don't mean like in a cliche way where you're kind of melodramatic. She's not melodramatic about anything. She has justification to every single beat that she takes on. Beautiful. So it doesn't matter the age that I am. It doesn't matter what other people's ages are. It doesn't matter how we look. It doesn't matter how much we weigh. We can still put on the bathing suit the way that she puts on the bathing suit, and then she's lying down by this beautiful swimming pool. And you know what? She doesn't even have to do a lot of movement now, because she already did the dancing when she was in a beautiful dress. She showed us that it's okay to dance. It's okay to move your shoulders. It's okay to move your hips. And guess what she does now? She does this exercise that we do in acting to gesture something that is so impolite to do. But if you give it justification, for example, to let yourself do something that you cannot do in everyday life. And I'm not proposing that all these acting techniques are to be done in public, because the public doesn't understand. What you want to share of yourself, your authentic self, you share it in a creative, safe environment. So, for example, we have this exercise. If you have a justification to why you're doing something, then it's going to be based in the truth. And then it's going to relieve that freedom in yourself. We get up in a circle. And then what we do is we bend our knees, butt out. And then we imagine that we're action figures. So we're action figures, and we're getting ready to imagine there's an airplane and there's a volcano, and we're trying to jump over, and the helicopter comes. So we grab on, and then we're in a circle, and we go 1, 2, 3. Oh! 1, 2, 3. Oh! 1, 2, 3. Oh! And then the freedom in the body comes. Do you see? And then you move the way that she does. It's so freeing, because you cannot go and do this in everyday life, because you would suggest something different. But it depends on how you create the scenario to make people comfortable as creative human beings, because they have to be creative, and they have to reinvent themselves, and they have to be the reminders of us all to allow ourselves to be free in ourselves and in our comportment and in our behavior. Again, without hurting other people, without doing it in a place where that's not safe to do it. Looks beautiful. And then what she does, like this move for actors, what she does, she goes into the physical exercise. And so many times the physical exercise is being used for actors, because the actors have to be trained physically, emotionally, socially, mentally. All of that training is required, because so many characters that someone will have the opportunity to play require so many diverse, different characters. So when she goes into the physical body training, that's also used in acting, because if you, for example, if you want an actor to allow his mind to become free, if you don't want an actor to be mentally tensed before he goes to do a job, or before she goes to do a job, work on a stage or in front of the camera, you will have him go up the stairs, down the stairs, up the stairs, go down, up the stairs, down the stairs. Or you will have them do an exercise before they come in when the director calls action, because the more you are physically exhausted, the less you will care about what people think of you. The more physically you are committing to something, the less you will care about how the camera is going to see you, and you're going to be able to portray a character much more from a relaxed feeling. The character will become more believable, because you've given yourself that opportunity for a few minutes before the filming starts to physically tire yourself and tire your brain, so the brain stops being concerned with all the stupid things that we should not be concerned about. What does the camera see me as? Will I be a great actor? Is the director going to like me? So the physical exercising she does is another acting tool. There's the song and dance exercise, which requires different movements with singing a song syllable by syllable. And the more you do it, the more you don't care. Then when you're being asked to go into the scene or into the monologue, you're going to have a different energy. You're going to have come from somewhere. You will have come from a moment before with this energy. So you're not just a character or a B-lister who just comes in the scene with no previous life and says the lines. You will have already the body ready, which is the instrument of the actor, the mind ready, the soul ready, the heart ready, to be able to bring life into that scene from a previous preparation, which is the physical preparation, which is what she does with the beat or the bit. She's showing us how she got to be looking so amazing. That's part of what her confidence is coming from. It's coming from her feeling good about herself physically. Then it comes into the inner life, which your interior life is going to be different. Like I was showing you before, the more you do physical exercises, the more you're going to have a smile on your face and the better you're going to feel about yourself. So she's kind of taking us through her process of how she got from where the story begins, where she's giving us the backstory and the sadness, of the relationship breaking up, and then coming into her own by doing all of these things that she's actually doing. It's almost like it's a character journey in this video. That's why I think it's so powerful and so many people are relating to it. And the analysis that I've seen on the other channels on YouTube and social media, they talk about the lyrics and the importance of them, but nobody's actually talking about this evolution in herself as a character. As a character, I mean a woman with character, because she really is. She portrays this beautiful human being we all aspire to be in our scenario, in our life, because we are those principal characters, those beautiful human beings that she is in our scenario. I think it's just magical. I think that it's such a acting lesson without obviously seeming like it's an acting lesson. Okay, so then she finishes with all that beautiful physical exercising, giving us an insight into her journey of how she became to make herself feel better, how she gained the confidence back, and she doesn't need any man or anybody else in her life or anyone to give her the worth that she already has. Then she goes into the shower, which is the entrance into the private moment. A private moment, I keep saying this all the time for actors, is what will give them the road to the award nominations. Award nominations, I will already know who the actors are going to get an award nomination because I will be able to see, I will be able to recognize the private moment. This is the private moment, the beginning of the private moment for Miley Cyrus. After taking the shower, where she's playful again, she lets her hair just be whatever it is without being concerned of how the hair looks, which is another thing, is going outside the box. If I'm moving and if I'm just going like this, but I'm going to maintain the facade on my face and I'm not going to get out of place because that's not being polite, or I'm not being considered to be a nice woman if I do let myself be wild. But as soon as I go like this, there's freedom that comes with that. And this is something that I work with actors again when we're doing this kind of exercise for relaxation of the body in the class, and I ask them to let themselves be clowns or let themselves be rag dolls moving around, which requires of them to move their body in a way that they don't usually do it. What I notice with most of them is they do the rest of the body, but then they keep the head very stiff because they're afraid for the hair to come in their face. They're afraid of looking like fools. And I say, go be fools, because you decide that you want to be fool. Once you make the decision you want to be a fool, then no matter what anybody else is going to say to you, you're a fool. It's too late. They cannot take that power away from you because you were the first one to reveal it. I am a fool. I've said it first. So you can say whatever you want. It's not going to bother me anymore. There's so much power in these acting tools, in these exercises. So like I showed you, if I go like this, let a sound come out and I go, ha, 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 ha. Ooh, I feel so good. Do you see how my face is glowing? Do you see how my eyes have a different light? Everything feels so much better. That's exactly what she does. So she does that in the shower with the hair, beginning of the private moment. She goes back to the lyrics, which are again the previous lyrics from the beginning of the song, which she goes back into, oh, this is what happened to us. I was ready to cry. So she's taking it slowly again, puts on the suit, the beautiful black suit. People say that it was the same suit that the ex was wearing. I don't know about that. She reminds herself again in the song.
I didn't want to leave you. I didn't want to fight. Started to cry, but then remembered I can buy some flowers. Write my name in the sand. Talking myself for hours. See things you don't understand. I can take myself dancing. Yeah, I can hold my man. Yeah, I can love me better than. Yeah, I can love me better than you
Stand in your grace at the end of it. So she does the private moment after she puts the suit on. What a private moment is doing something that you would change the way you're doing it if somebody walked into the room who was this constricted human being, because you wouldn't want that person to see you be so liberated, so freeing. All of the relationship that she had with this guy, all of the moments where he was constricting her from being herself. This is again from what I read in the news, where she was trying to be herself, dancing into him, and he said to her, behave. I've heard that so many times. I've been told that I have to behave, or I have to stop talking so much, or I have to stop being so animated, or I have to stop being so bold. So I can understand again that part of the song where she wears this beautiful suit and then she goes into the dance and she dances as if nobody's watching. That's a private moment, because you go into the dance and you let yourself go in a way where you don't have to follow the music in the way that you're dancing. You don't have to be concerned about your hair getting messed up. You can just take it to the level, being that it's the last bit before she stands in the grace that she had found for herself, in the worth that she had found, in her confidence, without needing somebody else to stand next to her. She's standing on her own. After that private moment, which is beautiful, she's going to be nominated for awards. I guarantee you that's a private moment that I'm talking about, that other actors do, not necessarily with song. They can also do it by revealing who they are in ways that are not comfortable to reveal, but now revealing in a way that Prince Harry revealed in the book, things that are vulgar. It's not about vulgarity. It's not about revealing parts of other people who don't want their parts to be revealed. It's about revealing something in a creative way. In this case, Miley Cyrus, because she's such an amazing artist. She's such a beautiful actress, because she had a show many years ago. She grew up on the Disney Channel with doing all the shows. And I'm not sure that she works with an acting coach. I have no idea. I would love to know. But she's putting the acting and the music together in this video with such artistry and with such beautiful interpretation. Very simplistic, but at the same time, very dynamic, very full of messages to all of us who are watching, to understand we can take care of ourselves. We can be okay without having somebody to love us, because we can do all that on our own. Take care of yourself first, and then you can be so much better for the other people in your life. I just thought that private moment with the dance where she doesn't care and she goes for it and she dances almost against the melody which makes you feel so good. It makes you feel so good. Oh, I am so glad that I had this to do this week because I was not knowing what I was going to do. And then I saw this and I was dancing myself to it. I just think it's a beautiful, beautiful example of a project that is so personal, but it is so universally understood by all of us. Like I said, no matter the age, no matter the culture, no matter, we can all relate. It is personal to her. She went out of her comfort zone to do it. And then she reached her goal. She reached her potential, which is I can stand on my own and be with my head up and shoulders back, just stand there without doing anything because I've done everything that I needed to do. So now I can just stand, continue my life. Beautifully done. These are my opinions only. These are my interpretations of what I see. I thank you so much. Have a wonderful week. I'll see you soon.